Well, hello. I'd like to read you a couple of verses out of the Bible. First is Psalm 51:6. Behold, thou desireth truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Also, Matthew 10:26. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. I'd like to tell you today about a man. His name was Jean Hardouin, or more correctly, perhaps Jean Hardouin. He was born in 1646. He died in 1729. This is a man that I would call a genius. He was one of the best educated men of his time. At the age of 37, he was made the director of the Royal Library of France under King Louis XIV. He was asked by the church to study out all of their religious writings, all the records of all the ecumenical councils, and he did that and wrote 11 volumes. It took him 28 years to go over this material. He wrote many other books. He was a student and an author of books on philology, or the study of text, and whether or not they were authentic or not, and what they meant, how they fit in the scheme of things. Numismatics, or the study of money, the study of coins. And he wrote books on that subject as well. He wrote books on the philosophy of history. He wrote books on theology, the philosophy of history, archaeology, chronology. When he finally wrote this book on the ecumenical councils, his work was banned by the church for 10 years. Even though he had come out with early editions, it was 1715 when he finally came out with his finished work. He made statements to the effect that if Jesus Christ and the apostles existed at all, they probably spoke in Latin. He said that the majority of classical Greek and Roman literature had not been produced by Greek and Roman authors. But he came to the conclusion that all these writings that we have from antiquity were forged during the Middle Ages by a group of Benedictine monks. He also argued that all extant Greek and Roman coins were all forgeries. But he never revealed why this happened. On his deathbed, he declared that the reason would be found written on a piece of paper the size of his hand. A search was made of his premises, and the reason was never found. The church had all of his books put on the forbidden book list. Today you can look on the internet and you can find many articles about this man, and unfortunately you'll see that he's even listed on the Museum of Hoaxes. Well, I'm here today to tell you that it is not a hoax. It is not a hoax. And I had read about this man a number of years ago. And as perhaps it just struck you a little of odd how you could explain all this on a piece of paper about the size of your hand. Seemed a bit far-fetched. Well, I was a bit puzzled by that, and saddened by the fact that no one ever found his explanation, and I'd basically forgotten about it over the past few years doing the research, as I told you, into early Christianity, just as I had mentioned in my introductory video. But I'm here to tell you today that I have found the answer to the puzzle. I'm sure there are some of you out there that already know the answer to the puzzle, but I am more sure of this than I have been of anything in my life, that this man was not wrong. It is interesting to, when we realize, we start looking at the Christian faith, and we find that most, not all, but most of the manuscripts that we have of the Greek New Testament, and before the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, all the Old Testament manuscripts that we had all date, strangely enough, to the same dates that were assigned to them by Jean Hardouin, the Middle Ages. And we are told, sadly, that the originals have vanished. I posted a note on one of my videos as a return comment. Has it ever occurred to anyone that perhaps these old texts that we have dated from the Middle Ages, that among them are the originals?